Like any mother of a growing boy, Maria spent a lot of time in the kitchen.
Me gustaba mucho el sándwich. Siempre tenía hambre todos los días, siempre. Todos los días comía, le daba yo de todo.
Maria's son had severe autism. Raul Olguin had the intellect of a toddler.
Todo para mi vida, todo. Yo lo bañaba, yo lo cambiaba, yo todo.
He lived with Maria most of his life, except the final 71 days. His caregiver knew he was losing weight, a lot of weight. By the time he died in April 2019, Raul weighed just 85 pounds. For more than 3 years, WFAA has been investigating the failures of the Texas system to protect the intellectually and physically disabled. Raul was also caught in that system.
Many people failed him.
Anna Ortiz knew Raul well. She used to be his caseworker.
He needed the support system from his provider, from Adult Protective Services, from all these other entities, and yet they failed him.
In late January of 2019, Raul was removed from his mother's care. She'd been accused of neglect. Records show an investigation soon cleared her.
Mom never got to see a healthy Raul after that point.
Raul wound up in the Garland home of Sharita Brandon, who also goes by Sharita Hobbs. Brandon was a caretaker working for a company paid by the state of Texas to manage foster homes for the intellectually disabled. Brandon's supervisors periodically checked on Raul at Brandon's home. They noticed he was losing weight. A staff member later told investigators, the caregiver would say he won't eat, but when we witnessed him eating, he would gobble up food like he had not eaten.
He loved to eat. That's one thing I recall from him.
So if someone says he didn't want to eat, you wouldn't believe that?
Yeah, actually, no. He would always be in the kitchen trying to get something, getting his mom's attention to make him something.
Maria provided WFAA her text messages with Sharita Brandon. Over and over, Maria asked, "How is Raul?" Brandon told her, "I guess he likes chicken and shrimp Alfredo. And he is doing so good. I believe he really likes it here. We just came from Chuck E. Cheese." On April 1st, 2019, Brandon sent this photo of Raul to Maria.
He was always a very tall and thin young man, but that's a completely different person. I couldn't even recognize him.
Records show Brandon did take Raul to a medical clinic 3 times in the days before he died. A week after this photo was taken, on April 8, 2019, a nurse there described him as well-nourished. 2 days after that doctor visit, Raul was removed from Brandon's home because of his weight loss. On the way to the home of his new caretaker, records show Raul ate chicken strips, fries, and a burger. His new caregiver said Raul looked very emaciated, his bones visible. The next day, Raul collapsed, vomiting black material. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital.
Ya cuando voy llegando, pues me tienen en un cuarto asustado. Me dijo el doctor, su hijo acaba de fallecer. No podemos hacer nada por él.
Hospital records show staff checked, yes, that they believed he'd been neglected. An autopsy found he died of aspiration pneumonia. It also said malnutrition contributed to his death.
A man in his 20s, even with developmental disabilities, doesn't simply die for no reason.
Clay Boatwright is a disability advocate. 2 of his daughters have autism.
You're working with a population who literally cannot tell you that they're hungry. They literally cannot tell you if they're being abused.
The Texas State Health Department investigated Raul's death. The final result? Inconclusive. Investigators could not determine whether Raul had been abused or neglected by Brandon.
For someone to deteriorate and to ultimately die in a way that people can't draw a conclusion or where there's confusion makes absolutely no sense. It's not like he was isolated for days and someone found him days later. People saw him every single day.
Sharita Brandon declined to do an on-camera interview but provided WFAA videos of her feeding Raul. She said via text, "He lost weight because he wouldn't eat. All I could do is my best."
No lo entiendo. Tal vez digo yo, sí, teniendo conmigo aquí estuviera mejor, pero no lo salvé de esa gente, yo no pude.
But should Sharita Brandon have ever been taking care of Raul? The state ultimately said no, and here's why. In 2004, when she lived in Arkansas, she pleaded guilty to stealing money from a federal child care program. A federal judge ordered her and several accomplices to pay back more than $800,000. But when she moved to Texas and applied for jobs taking care of the intellectually disabled, those companies were only required to check for Texas crimes, so they missed her federal conviction. Had they been required to do a nationwide fingerprint background check, they would have found it.
There needs to be an upfront criminal background check, a thorough one. It's, as you can tell, the consequences of a mistake are huge.
Last summer, months after we asked about it, the state concluded she concealed her conviction history. That investigation resulted in Brandon being permanently barred from working with people like Raul. Brandon told us she didn't think her conviction was relevant. She and her Arkansas accomplices still owe more than $700,000.
Someone needs to be responsible for what happened to Raul. For him to have passed the way he did, it's sad to see that.
For Maria, it's a loss she will never get over.
Todo comienza, no sé por qué pasó esto.
She will never understand how people paid to protect him failed to keep him alive. In Dallas, I'm Tanya Iser.